SprintCarUnlimited.com, coming to you from Port Royal Speedway, night 2, or night 1, however you want to look at it, of the Weichert Memorial. We're here with second place finisher Lance Dewease. Lance, it's been a rough year at times. You looked really good tonight, and you get a second place finish. You got to be pleased just how far this team has come in a short amount of time this year, not getting a lot of races in.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with where we're at. We have actually been really good all year. We just haven't put a whole night together. Our downfall this year has kind of been our heat races. But we've kind of come on some things here last race or so, and they got the car really where it has a really good balance. I changed the shock, went home and built a shock this morning and changed it, and it really helped the car, I think, a lot as far as rotating the corner a lot nicer. And we just need to get the hair better. I mean, it was pretty nice there. I was probably a little too good early, but we still, all in all, I was happy.
It's got to feel good to just be running up front again. This is something, it's been a project. Even last year to this year, and of course some people then, write you off or whatever, but it's got to be good just to be running up front. It's got to give you some confidence moving forward.
It does. I mean, like I said, we've been pretty fast all year. We started 23rd here and ran 8th opening day. We was hard charger, the Outlaw Show at the Grove. We just need to get the consistency a little bit more. I've been really happy with our car the last 2 nights up here. Last 2 or 3 races, we've had speed. My rider engine's run really good. So it's just everything. It's a hard deal. I mean, the times are so close anymore. It's just, everybody, this whole field's so tough. I mean, you look at the C main, what's there in the C main tonight and the B main tonight. It's a tough field, And this place, when it gets slick, benefits me more so than some of the other guys. And, Brent knows how to run this place as good as anybody in the slick. And so it's, all in all, I was pretty happy all in all to run second. After the first 5 laps, I didn't think I could win it, honestly. I thought I would be too bad at the end. And he snuck by me, and actually I changed my line and kind of could maintain with him a little bit. And there at the end, I cut some decent laps, but that kind of was, I don't know, rubbered up or just got cleaned off really good, and I picked up some grip. But, all in all, I'm happy.
He was able to squeeze on the inside. I thought he would maybe get you over in 1 and 2. That's where he got his run.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of got inside of you, which I didn't think he'd be able to in 3 and 4, but he was able to do that. Did you just go up a lane to find something? Or?
Well, I was kind of running up a lane a little bit anyhow, but normally him, Macri, them guys, when they hit 1 and 2, right, where they beat you is going into 3 because they have so much more speed. And you can't do nothing to defend it. And I really didn't hear him until I started in. It was already too late. I was already up then a little bit, and I heard him once I started in. I knew he's going to clear me, easily, because when those guys get those big runs through 1 and 2, when they hit that wall and hit it right, it's 20-mile-an-hour difference, it seems like. The problem is they can't do that in traffic, and if they start losing their momentum a little bit, it's hard for them to run elsewhere.
I thought he'd pull away, but he didn't. You were able to kind of hang with them, get through traffic really well, the dirty air. I mean, you got to be pleased with just, you couldn't catch him, but you could maintain and stay with him.
I changed my line when he went by me. I moved down a little bit, more towards, not the bottom, but more towards the lower middle groove, and I got better there, and I could maintain with him. I still couldn't gain on him, but I could maintain with him. And it's just one of those things that I thought it would be, maybe if he got held up with a lap car. I wasn't going to beat him in the open. He's way too good of a racer to make a mistake like that. But, lap car, the 5 car, I think was faster than all of us because he looked like he was going to lap himself, and he didn't. But he kept driving to Brent's left rear off of 4. I'm like, man, if he kind of gets him screwed up a little bit there, or if Brent thinks that's me, and he changes his line, maybe something happened there. But I give the 5 car, the kid, a lot of credit. He didn't pass him. I thought he could, but he didn't, that's the respectful thing to do. And but no, all in all, I'm pretty pleased.
100,000 tomorrow.
Yeah.
You gear up for these big races up here. You've won more than anyone else up here as far as big shows.
Yeah.
Gotta have. Looks like you might have something for him tomorrow.
Yeah, it still comes down to the same little thing. You have time. It starts to begin night timing. I was really happy where we were in warm-ups and time trials, and then you have to go run the heat races. And if they have the track more like this tomorrow, it'll probably be a little faster tomorrow. They'll probably make it a little wetter. But if they get it where it's slick and you can move around, you can start anywhere in 40 laps and win. So hopefully, we can get ourselves in a position to take advantage of it and see if we can get better and beat them guys.
Well, congratulations on a solid run.
Thank you.
SprintCarUnlimited.com, coming to you from Port Royal Speedway. It's night, 1 or 2, however you want to look at it, of the Weichert Memorial. We're here with winner Brent Marks. And Brent, this is what we're used to seeing from you at Port Royal a few years ago. You struggled a little bit, in the recent past. What changed tonight? What did you guys find? Because you look like the guy who won the Tuscarora 50 and had so many good runs here, and you were able to put it together tonight.
Honestly, it just comes down to hard work and my team busting their butts to be better every day. I feel like we're one of the best teams in the country, but we all go through our periods of time where we're just off a little bit. We just can't quite find that sweet spot, and we've been through that period, and I feel like we're still trying to progress through it, but we've been doing a really good job. Team's been doing a really good job at getting me comfortable behind the car, getting it stuck enough to the racetrack and have the drive that I need, and stuff that we've kind of missing. So they're doing fantastic at it. We've just been doing different things, and honestly, it's working. So obviously, I can't get into all the details of it, but
that's fine.
Yeah, but no, it's just a lot of fun to drive. I'm having a blast driving this car. And it's getting back to the point to where I'm starting to feel more comfortable in it like I was in 22 when we had a really good year, even 23, 21, 22, 23 really. So 24 is when we kind of started to fall off a little bit and we're just chasing our tails around, but we're doing a good job, and I'm just really proud of them.
You were so good in 1 and 2, and I think that set up the pass for the win. Yeah. You sailed around the top. The car was really good around top, and then you were able to. Not many people can squeeze in between Lance Dewease and the inside guardrail. You were able to do that. Talk about that run and just being able to grab the lead there.
I mean, I just had such a run off of 2 on Lance, and I knew where his line was going into 3, but I had such a run that I had to do something with it. So, just kind of going in underneath him there and just kind of pushing him up the racetrack a little bit and taking his line away off of 4. It's really the only way I could kind of manage that whole deal. But when opportunity knocks, you have to take. So I got that run, and I didn't want to just let off and just try in the next corner. I had the opportunity, so you never know who's coming behind you. I just didn't want to give anybody else a chance. So I took it, and made the move, and ultimately worked out. But I just felt so comfortable where I was running at tonight. The car was right on the money. I could get up against the wall. It was super thin up there. Really no margin for errors. But I felt so comfortable just rolling around the top and building momentum. And even when I had to get off of it a couple of times, the car felt really good. But that was just my comfort spot for tonight, and it worked out for us.
You weren't able to get away from lap traffic. Was tough. Obviously running, it's a stacked field, good field, so it's harder to pass lap traffic when you have a field like that, but kind of tough to get away. Were you just kind of out there cruising, not making a mistake? Could you have pushed it harder?
I was trying not to make a mistake, honestly. Like I said, the track, it was just so thin around the top, and you couldn't make mistakes. And I felt like the track was really good. It seemed like the bottom, middle, top was obviously working, so you can maneuver around, and that's what lap cars were doing. They were kind of running all over the place. So. And they were racing each other, so I just had to be careful, not to get caught up in a mess that I didn't need to be a part of. So we were just kind of cruising around, and I felt comfortable. Felt like my pace was good, and didn't think I needed to push any harder than what I was.
It had to feel good to get a win at Port Royal again, and with $100,000 on the line tomorrow, you got to feel really good about where this team's at right now, and the possibility of scoring another big win. You've done it before so many times.
Yeah, I mean, we just we have to put ourselves in position, and I feel like we have a good enough car to do it. It feels great to win another race at Port Royal. Seems like it's been a little while, but these events, everything's always different. You go into the next night, the track could be totally opposite. So nothing's ever the same. So we're just gonna see what's given to us tomorrow, work hard again, and try to position ourselves the best that we can to give us the best opportunity to compete for that win.
Well, congratulations on a win tonight.
Thank you.
SprintCarUnlimited.com, coming to you from Port Royal Speedway, Weichert Memorial. We're here with winner Aaron Reutzel, $100,000. Has it sunk in yet?
I don't think so. Honestly, it's incredible. You know, you see all these. I think they said there's 7 six-figure races or something this year, and you see them all, and you got an idea what you could win throughout a year, and everything's got to align, right? And tonight was our night. It's crazy. It was. It all worked out well, and our car was phenomenal. Our car was really, really good. And then I got the lucky breaks as well. Like when I screwed up on that restart, Macri got me, and the red came out, and I was able to sneak right back by him when he showed me the bottom. And it's just one of those deals. It was meant to be. And you know, when it's not meant to be, you're not going to win, no matter how good you are. And tonight was meant to be, and I'm so pumped. Our team deserves this. Brian and Lisa Ridge deserve this. All our sponsors deserve this. Everyone puts a hell of a lot into this team. A lot of people back me, believe in me, and I'm just so happy that I could do this for them.
Yeah, you have a tough score of 50 now. You have Weichert Memorial, and I mean, Port Royal's a place that you've always been good at. What is it about this place, whether it's the top or the bottom, you seem comfortable?
I get that question a lot. I always go back to, I feel like I'm a good momentum racer. I don't know why, but like Knoxville's a momentum racing. Here, you know, you would think just stop and hit the bottom and this and that, but sometimes you're better off just, you know, driving across. And, you know, like tonight, early, I was really good, and I didn't have to even be up against the fence. I was a car with or 2 down, and it's just ways to find momentum to get down that long-ass straightaway. And like I say, if you screw up and you spin your tires up off the corner, it's like throwing a parachute out. You get penalized. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm good at momentum racing, and this is a momentum racetrack.
Macri was able to get you on that restart. What happened there? And boy, you never want somebody to have a red flag, but I bet you were pretty happy to have that caution.
Yeah, I stupidly left the wing all the way back where I was with a full fuel load, and I took off. And immediately with full fuel, I was running my wing about halfway back, and then when the fuel load come off, I was all the way back, and I left it there. So as soon as I took off, it like dropped right, picked left up, and I was kind of pushing into him, and I had to lift for it, and you know, he went on by, and I fixed that immediately, and you know, I think the restarts from there were good.
And you found the bottom.
Yeah.
Could have been. I mean, when did that come in, and was it him showing you the nose? You said, oh, I better get down there?
Yeah, he showed me a nose, and then I was thinking that my line up top, the way I was doing it, I was kind of getting spinny, leaving the corners, and wasn't carrying as much speed as I was previously, and I thought it was I was watching lap cars, and the guys running the top weren't catching the leader, the guys on the bottom, and it, like as soon as it all registered, here comes the 39M, and so, yeah, I moved down, and it was just kind of cleaner and easier to run. And I just think the tops just went away, really, because then when I got to lap cars, I could go out in the middle and still momentum around them. So it's just like the top was just too far around, or it was dirty, or I don't know if a lot of people just weren't running it or what.
To win a race, I mean, obviously, you were probably counting laps at that point. 40 laps around this place a long time. You probably couldn't wait till this thing got over.
Yeah. I looked over one time and I saw 10 to go, and I was like, son of a bitch. I thought for sure it'd be like 5 by now.
But, you know, you have to win. I mean, 6-figure paydays don't come along very often.
No.
Biggest win monetarily of your career. Does this kind of show this, hey, this team's here, a big factor. We can win a lot of races and also win a lot of big money races, especially with what's coming up this year.
I think so, and I mean, like I say, as much as Brian and Lisa Ridge put into it, as much as Fulkins put into it, as much as Power Plus puts in, we should perform like this. We should be at this scale. There's no excuses, honestly, and I stride at trying to get to this level again. I'm like I was in 18 and 19. I'm back to that kind of mindset, and I'm glad I could do it again. I didn't know if that was just my little error there or what, but yeah, there's been a lot of hard work, a lot of off-season prep, a lot of getting myself fit again, trying to get my mindset right again, where before it was if we have a bad night, screw it, we're going to the bar anyways, and just kind of get back to that rhythm of being on the road and racing, and it's been a long, I say it's been long, it's been since we decided we were going in December or whatever, but it was a lot this off season, and I'm just so proud of this race team and everyone that's a part of it. It's we've got good things coming, and we're in a great place right now.
Well, going on the road's paying off. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of SprintCarUnlimited.com live. We're here at home, back on our regular day, not on Monday, on Tuesday. Next week, I don't know where we'll be, because we'll probably be in Wisconsin for High Limit in the World of Outlaws. Stay tuned to details for that. We have a lot to talk about, but before we get to the chat or the phone lines, I'm going to go over some of the storylines from last weekend heading into this week. And we start with the Bob Weichert Memorial, and obviously Aaron Reutzel. The Clute, Texas native had the biggest win of his career and also the biggest payout ever for a winner in central Pennsylvania, $100,000 for bagging the Bob Weichert Memorial. It was a huge win for Reutzel, easily the biggest of his career. And like I said earlier this year, before he went on the road with High Limit, I think he is going to be a major player with that series and also on the national 410 sprint car scene. Again, first really big race of the season. I think he can add another one or two. Watch him at Knoxville. He's really good there. Moving on, it's, if we go 2 races with the World of Outlaws in which David Gravel didn't win, it's kind of a big story. So Logan Schuchart wins at Attica Raceway Park. And then we have Carson Macedo at Atomic. David Gravel actually got shut out 3 times this week because he made the tow to the Bob Weichert Memorial and had a 5th place finish. Still, he's 182 points ahead of Logan Schuchart and Buddy Kofoid, who are tied for 2nd. And it's a pretty big lead, 182 points. So if you want to talk about that, we can. Also, Lance Dewease, I'm sure will be a topic tonight. He had an impressive showing over the weekend. He finished 2nd and 3rd in the 2 race high limit shows at Port Royal Speedway. Looked like the Dewease of old. He timed well, despite not maybe having a great pill draw. He was good in his heat race, good in the feature. Would have liked to have seen, what transpired if they didn't have that fuel stop on lap 15. Thought it was a little early, and put an entire night together and proved that he still has some stuff left in the tank, and maybe a couple big wins out there as well. We could talk about fuel stops. Ryan Timms winning at Knoxville. Justin Sanders had a 3-win weekend. It's all on the table. If you want to call, 1-844-543-8589, or you can leave something in the chat. My producer Eric will get to it, put it up on the screen. So we're ready to go. What do you guys got for me tonight? How does DGRD still have a car in PA with Dylan Norris? Or, hey, does he? From what I gather, I don't know that it went anywhere if they shipped it back to Iowa, but I wouldn't be surprised if Dylan Norris runs another race or two for Dennis Gainey. That's who you're referencing. So moving on. Is Dylan Bloomfield jumping in one of the DGRD cars? Not that I don't know. I have not heard anything about that. Sorry, my eyes all messed up. It's a lot of pollen in the air, and dummy me, I got an allergy to it and was rubbing my eyes. So it's freaking people out, but that'll go away in time. But no, I don't know anything about Dylan Bloomfield taking that ride. I think you could see some other guys in it, though. So we'll see. How did Danny Dietrich get his provisional for the Sunday feature? That's a good question. Usually that stuff goes to people, guys who are high in the point standings. Danny's not high in the point standings at Port Royal. I would assume that was a promoter's choice type of situation because he's the defending champ. I don't know if they have something in the rules or not. Otherwise, it's because it's Danny Dietrich. So unless it wasn't in the rules and I did not check that defending champions automatically get a provisional, then I would say it was some kind of promoter's choice. So, all right. Why did Buddy Kofoid and Garrett Williamson use one of their 4 races for the Williams Grove show and not the 100 Grand Weikert? They did not use one of their four freebies for Williams Grove. That was a free trip the Outlaws gave them because they got rained out. They said they could go to the Grove without any penalty. So they each have 4. And Kofoid and Williamson both came to Williams Grove to get more laps. Buddy doesn't think he's is good enough at the Grove just yet, even though he won last year. As for Williamson, he has very few laps there. I think May might have been his first visit, and certainly in that car. So they just wanted to get laps, and they did it at no cost to them. All right. What is going on with the 49 car that Cale vacated and Jacobs took over? I haven't seen much about them lately. Well, Trey Jacobs is now out of it. So after 2 races, after 2 all-star shows, he was jettisoned. They are looking for a driver. I mean, I've heard different things. I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to Cale. I wouldn't be surprised if they go a different direction. So we'll see what transpires in the next week. Port Royal, was it a boring race? There was good action from about 4th to 10th. After that break with 15 laps, it seemed like it got pretty bottom dominant. And Aaron Reutzel tried to go up top a couple times to lap cars. It didn't really play well. Anthony Macker was able to, kind of get closer to him. So I don't know if not boring. I think sometimes if we don't have a battle for the lead, people consider it to be boring. But there was some action throughout the field. There were some movers. Was it as good as they probably wanted? No. I thought Saturday's race was better. But again, I thought the fuel stop came a little too early, especially with no cautions. I think it was going to get really good between Lance and Anthony Macri. And I think they maybe could have wiped out that 2-second lead by Aaron Reutzel. So I'm not going to say boring, but maybe could have been better. Cody Jacobs is going to expose his. Yeah, that's great. If you want to see that, go ahead. Is Aaron Reutzel in a top three national racer? Not yet. Top 10, definitely. I think he's a top 10 talent anyway. Definitely not a top 3. if you're going to count Larson, which it seems everybody on here wants to, obviously he's there, David Gravel, and then you have Rico right now who has more wins. I'm going to say top 10. I can't go top 3 yet. All right, what else do we got? Why didn't more World of Outlaws drivers make the tow to Port Royal? I thought we would have had more than 3 make the trek. Well, Carson Macedo's terrible there. Just terrible. Not good at Port Royal. A lot of those guys aren't good at Port Royal. They have no reason to get laps there anymore because they don't race there. So I think that's a part of it. I think, too, they had a race the next day at Atomic. And you always think those races are going to go long. And then next day, you just got to trek 6 hours, east or west to get to Atomic. I just don't think it's something that they wanted to do. That's it. I don't think it's no more, no less. And again, those guys really aren't that good there. I heard Gio was coming in, but somebody said that to me. I didn't talk to Gio yet, but no go. Any driver announcements for the 39 Trone car yet? No. I mean, obviously, I think, there's going to be a lot of people saying Dylan Cisney. There's going to be a lot of people, probably maybe a couple other guys, maybe a 305 driver, who knows? But nothing's been announced yet. I will probably give John Trone a call probably right after this show. I don't like to bother him too much because, he's dealing with some health issues, but nothing has been announced yet. Will Lance Dewease win a race in 2025? Yes. I think absolutely he wins a race. He looked good this weekend. I thought it looked like old Lance Dewease on the bottom at Port Royal. He even tried the top a few times. Really wasn't working for anybody at that point, but he went where he, other people weren't. So the car handled well. What I was really impressed with how well he timed, despite not pulling high pills. Lance has struggled at the beginning of the night lately, or I should say over the last year or so. For him to go out in that field and lay down a very good lap that late, I thought that showed this. They're turning the corner with this car. I think having Schreiner in there helps. Obviously, Jim Schreiner, I think that's a good get for that team. And I think they're on the uptick. I think they could win 2-3 races. I don't quite know how much they're going to run, but definitely watch Lance Dewease, especially come Speed Week. Who are some of the next guys you think will join a national tour? Emerson Axum, I think at some point here is going to join a national tour. I've heard rumblings of Austin McCarl possibly doing that next year. I think they are definitely working on their motor program to get in that direction. Those would be the two that stand out the most to me. I don't think Anthony Macri, that's something he wants to do or that team wants to do right now. He would be another popular choice, but I think those other two, I think they're the two guys that stand out the most, who I've heard could fire in next year. We got Pete on line 1. Pete, how you doing?
I'm all right. No tornadoes in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now, so we're doing better than last week.
Yeah, well, you survived. That's good.
I survived. Yeah. We had some 60-mile-an-hour straight line winds on Saturday, but like I say, it's not bad until they start swirling.
Yeah. Well,
so I have always liked Aaron Reutzel, and watching him jump out of the car and do the wing dance you like so much on Sunday, throw his hands up in the air, just really, really solidified it in my book. He's my new hero, I think.
Aaron's good. I think he gets, I mean, obviously people don't like him because of the chassis thing, the Wayne Johnson thing, whatever you want to say. He's sometimes voices he's pretty honest in victory lane of what he thinks of any eggs on fans, a la Bob Weichert. I think Aaron's good for the sport. I think he plays that villain role so well. So there you go. I mean, I think he's talented.
Well,
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up. I think, you kind of need a villain. And,
Yes.
it was talked about before the high limit season, he was going to be coming in and people love him and people hate him. And it could really be good for the sport. Like you say, people are watching to hope he gets beat. I mean, it's kind of a, Floyd Mayweather situation. It's like, I want to watch this so he can get whipped.
Sure.
And, sometimes he does. He got whooped by a rock in Las Vegas. But man, it is top-notch entertainment for me.
Yeah, I think Aaron Reutzel's, like I said, I think he's good for the sport. I think the worst thing you could have is apathy. When no one feels like or hate, they're just like, oh, okay, he's there. He draws a reaction no matter what. And whether it's good, bad, I don't think he cares. And you know what? I saw a lot of people come up to him in the pit area, congratulate him, fans getting an autograph. So, I mean, he has his fans. And look, I think he's super talented and he's always fast. And I think he has a big input as far as what his car is like. So, I mean, people should like that. I mean, no matter what, people are going to remember the chassis deal. They're going to remember the Wayne Johnson thing or something he said in victory lane. But he's good for the sport. He keeps it interesting. And boy, is he fast.
Yeah. I think he's a lot of fun to watch.
Sure.
Another thing I noticed and I don't watch near as many races as a lot of people do, but I thought the lap cars really racing hard Sunday night was somewhat silly. I mean, Dominic Scelzi said lap cars have no rights, and I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but good Lord, some of them were really getting after it, and it's like, man, you're kind of out of the gig right now. Just move down, make way, get out of the way type thing.
Well, I'm kind of divided on this because I understand it. They're racing for position too, and there's no rear view mirrors in these things. There's no mirrors.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little divided, as you say. Kind of like you are. I get it. They don't know who's coming behind them. As far as they know, there's 20 laps left or whatever. I mean, I get that part of it, but trying to unlap yourself. I mean, surely they know who's at the front of the field.
Yeah. I mean,
let's not
look,
throw sliders at the top three. I mean, come on, guys. Let's just keep it, kind of respectful.
I agree with the unlapping part. It's not like you have 500 miles to unlap yourself and win the race. That's not going to happen. And point racing now, if you're a local guy, there's no reason to do it in a sanctioned series race or for that matter locally because the point championships don't pay enough. So if you get lapped, look, just try and stay out of the way and not determine the outcome of the race.
Right. Yeah. And then I just not too much more here. So is Gravel not great at Port? I mean, he had a decent run, but I mean, I think a lot of people thought he was going to pull up there and leave with $100,000.
No,
I
it's.
thought he was kind of struggling to get to the top 5.
He was. It's not his best track. I would say it's probably. I don't think David Gravel has a poor track where he's not good at all. I mean, he's had a couple runner-up finish, top 5s there. I don't know that he's won. And I know he hasn't won a World of Outlaws event. It's not a good place for him necessarily. He missed the redraw, not Sunday, but the year before. It's just not a strong place for the World of Outlaws drivers at this point. Donnie was probably the best there. And that was when it was configured a little different. They kind of changed it a little bit, not too much. He won the Tuscarora 50 there once, but I would say, yeah, when he rolled in, I didn't think it was like, oh, everybody's going to be running for second. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised, would have been a strong word, but I didn't have him as one of my favorites. No.
Okay. Well, I mean, Sunday morning, did you think Reutzel or Macri had the better shot at it?
Well,
if you were making a bet Sunday morning, what'd you think?
Equal, because I didn't like what I saw from Macri Saturday night. He wasn't good. Reutzel was okay. I picked Tyler Courtney for the week because on my podcast, you can check it out at SprintCarUnlimited.com. It's just, I was wrong. He had no speed in qualifying throughout the weekend. I was really surprised how Tyler Courtney just wasn't a factor at all in either race. Stunned. In fact, I was stunned by that. He's really good there. He's won 4 times. If you count his USAC win, he has a World of Outlaws win there. He has an All-Star win there. Finished second to Danny last year. That to me was the surprising part. I knew Anthony Macri and Reutzel, they were 2 of the favorites, even when I woke up Sunday morning, but I just didn't know which. I don't think one stood out over the other to me. I thought it was wide open. I thought it was a more wide open show at Port Royal than normal.
Well, I mean, coming to those closing laps, Aaron, he had a pretty good lead on him, but I was not, I'm happy to see him win, but I was not going to turn the TV off because I thought, I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Macri sneaks in there and snags one. So it, he kept it somewhat close. Like to say, I don't think it was the best race I've ever watched.
No.
Probably not the best race of the weekend even, but it was an entertaining race.
Sure.
All the same.
Macri,
in Victory Lane.
Yeah, Macri always has a shot at Port. We saw that the week before. But, yeah, I mean,
Right.
it wasn't the best race. Basically, I would say Macri kept him honest.
Mm-hmm.
Kept him honest.
Yeah, and so are you thinking there's a real chance that he gets on a tour next year?
No, not at all.
No,
I just don't think that's. I think there might be a someday, maybe 1 year to try it. I think they're comfortable doing what they do. They can come home when they want. I know Anthony likes to be home, and they can kind of go out and race when they want to, hit a big show. There's going to come a stretch here where they're not around for a month and they're on the road. But then I just don't think that's the MO of that team. So, and they make it work as far as financially. They win races, and you can make a lot of money in Central PA at times. So I think it just works for them.
Yeah. Well, you talked about how good the money was there before the season started, and just I can't imagine that's going to go down. So good for them. It works for them, and
it's not going to go down.
They're one of those guys that shows up every now and then that you kind of can't help but watch.
Yeah, he makes it exciting when he's in PA. That's for sure.
Absolutely. All righty, man. I appreciate it. Have a good evening, and maybe we'll talk to you next week.
All right, Pete. Thank you for calling.
See ya.
See ya. All right, we have Ken on line 2. Ken, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good tonight, Jeremy. Just a couple of quick things. I think the reason they took the 15 laps and then took the fuel stop is they wanted to set it up for a 25-lap feature event. They figured they had 25 good laps of racing, but the track took a little rubber, and that spoiled their game plan.
I wouldn't doubt that. I have not talked to anybody in charge. First off, I'm not a big fuel stop guy. Look, Knoxville is an anomaly for the Nationals. I don't think every race is the Knoxville Nationals. And I don't want to see a mandatory fuel stop outside of the Knoxville Nationals. So that's number one. Number two, just go to the yellow flag. All you have to do is say, look, we're going to have a yellow between 20 and 20, or we're going to have the mandatory fuel stop between 20 and 25. If it's 27 because the caution comes out, fine. I'm good with it. I don't know. I understand it, and I know why they do it, and I get it. And I'm not going to say they need to run silver crown tanks because it's going to take away from the racing on that car. I saw that thing today. But 15 laps, that just seemed a little early to me. And it cost us a good battle between Macri and Dewease. That's hindsight. I mean, you don't know that's coming. And maybe there would have been a good battle later in the race. I just didn't like it.
Maybe the best bet would be go 35 laps, and then you don't need a fuel stop if you don't have.
There you go. Does that 5 laps matter? Would that? I mean, and I agree with that.
I think they could get. I think they would get 50, at least 50. I know it was a cold night, so they were using a little more than normal,
sure.
Maybe. But they should be able to get 50. I knew we used to give them 55. Now, I don't know if that's what they still go by or not.
It's different every track. I know the Grove gives 55. I know BAPS. Look for BAPS in lieu of what happened at Vegas. I know Colton Gauss has talked about dropping it down to 50, 55. But yeah, they were burning a lot of fuel. And the conditions were really good. But again, I don't fit lap 15. I didn't like. It's as simple as that.
Okay. The only other thing, I don't know, did the gentleman from Hoagie's Garage from out at Houston, did he get together with you out there on Sunday?
Yes. I think I gave him.
He's from Falcon Trucking.
Yes, I think I gave.
He was going to check you out. He was interested in having you on his podcast, the Hoagie's Garage podcast, and
yep.
He said when you come out there to use it, he wants to get together with you.
Yes,
so
I did give him my number. I gave him my number.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a good week. And how did you handle the pick situation with Attica switching the night?
We just moved our picks from Friday to Saturday, and we got rid of the Sharon picks. That's it.
You got rid of the Sharon picks.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, you have a good week, Jeremy.
Ken, thank you for calling. I appreciate it. And I didn't do very well in the picks this week. Ryan Hand is gaining on me. So, all right. Scott, any idea why there was no track work at Atomic when they knew the track was crap before the feature? I know they had a rework after, time trials or heat races. It might have been heat races. I was kind of in and out watching hockey, of course. But I would assume they didn't, and again, it's assumption. I just feel they probably didn't want to keep people there longer with a second rework. But I think probably everybody in the building would have accepted that because it was not a good race. It was not a good race. They should have done something. They got 8 laps out of it, I thought, roughly 8 laps. So if you could have got it, people are more accepting if you get closer to the end. So maybe you could have got another 10 out of it or something. I don't know. It's not an exact science. It's not like Atomic wanted that to happen. Should they have done another rework? I think so, obviously, with what we got. But again, hindsight's 2020, and it just wasn't a good showing. So Sanders has won 7 of his last 12. Does he win 25? An outlaw and high limit race. He's not going to get to 25. I think 25 is a lot. But Justin Sanders is really good right now. And I do believe he wins a national touring race this year. Absolutely. I said it last year. He was close. That doesn't count, of course, but I think he wins a national touring race this year. And I'm going to say wins. I'm going to set the over-under at 18. Over-under 18, because I might wager once in a while. But Justin's really good. He's the best on the West Coast. All right. Halligan and Danny Dietrich got the 2 track points provisional, 7th and 8th in track points. Top 6 were already in. Okay, there you go. The points I saw were after the feature. So that's why I said, he's not a regular track guy, though. I mean, it's not a port regular. And here's the thing. No matter what, 30 cars should not start an AMA. I hate provisionals. I hate all provisionals. I don't think High Limit should get provisionals. I don't think Pennsylvania Posse should get provisionals. I don't think the World of Outlaws get provisionals. Next year's Super Bowl, we're not going to, when the fourth quarter ticks down and one team's up by 7, we're not going to say, let's add another 10 minutes and give them a chance because they tried hard. I don't like provisionals. Either make it or you don't. That's it. Nobody's going to change my mind on it. So, yeah, I mean, I saw the points after the race was over. So it might have already had that factored in. But that's a good note that you gave us there. Thank you, Night Owl 85. Would they need a fuel stop if the race kept going? I didn't, and this is my fault. I was so worried about making sure I got interviews because you're scheduling them around tech. I should have asked some crew chiefs and didn't if they could have made it. Aaron Reutzel's kind of tough because, he does a lot of stuff on the car himself. So I don't know. That's a question I can get answered. It was a pretty brisk night. So obviously the air is better. You're going to burn more fuel. So I don't think they could have made the race. I don't think they could have made the race without a caution. So, I mean, when's the last time you saw 40 laps go caution free in a sprint car show? Don't give me late model stuff. I'm talking about sprint cars. Doesn't happen often. So I probably needed a fuel stop. Just make it 35. We don't need 40. Just make it 35. So what's next? Any word on the new driver, the 2KS car? Not yet. Troy Renfro put out in a release that they don't have a plan or a short plan yet, but they will have it narrowed down in the near future. So I don't know. Sorry, my watch is going off. My daughter's calling. It must be Edmonton and Dallas Stars time. But so I don't know who they get. It's May, and a lot of guys are spoken for. And I don't know, obviously everybody talks about Zeb Wise. I don't know if Zeb's particular. He's not going to just take anything. So I think it's going to be hard. There's going to be some other rumbling. There's going to be some other things coming down the pike here real soon. Could see some more driver changes in the near future. Just a hint. So we'll see how it plays out. Thoughts on Gravel's comments that he feels High Limit through the caution to prevent the advancement through the field. That feels far-fetched. I believe it's way far-fetched. Yeah, I find it hard to believe that, Mike Hess or anybody for High Limit is going, ooh, look at that 2 car. He passed a couple cars in that one lap. Ooh, we better throw the caution now. Come on. Everybody has a conspiracy theory for everything because it sounds fun. I'm sorry, I don't buy that, David. That's it. I just don't. I don't think they would have cared if David Gravel won that race. I don't think they would have cared one bit. So, no, I don't buy it. Jeremy Elliott and SCU should start a 410 series in PA. It would take over the area. SCU would become the NARC. Well, first off, I don't want to be NARC. That's my first thing. I would never want to be NARC. Number one. Number two, I think there's too many races already. You're not going to add to them. Secondly, you got tracks. Tracks aren't going to book extra shows midweek. and they're not going to give up their dates on the weekend. It's not happening. There's 115 races in this area. There's too many already. You don't add more. That's suicide. It's suicide. You can't do that. And also, who's coming up with the purse? Are we going to ask the tracks to come up with the purse again? Because that's what they had to do when the World of Outlaws raised the purses. The World of Outlaws doesn't pay that, except when they have a JV show. The track assumes that. So again, who's going to, and then are you going to pay $40 to get in? If you want to, there's just so many variables that's not a good idea. Do you have a preferred support series for 410 sprint cars? No. Look, something that gets like 24 to 28 cars. You don't want to take it up. You don't want to take up too much time. If they have a B main, fine. You just don't want 4 heats, 2 B mains or something like that. And for big races, none at all. None at all. Big races do not need support division. Nobody paid to see wingless super sportsmen. Nobody paid, and no disrespect to them, but come on. It's a big race. Knoxville Nationals doesn't have a support division. Kings Royal used to. They used to have the NRA Sprint Invaders. They got rid of that. No support division for big races like that. If you want to have them weekly, fine, but I think racing's got to learn that time is of the essence. People's attention spans are smaller, and you need to get the fans in and get them out. All right, what else do we got? I'm not looking at the chat, so I am unsure, which I kind of like. Oh, God, Chaz, yes, you're on line 4. What do you got?
What are you talking about, Jeremy? You can't be saying this stuff.
Say whatever I want.
Well, I know you can say whatever you want, Jeremy, but at the end of the day, for one, you could take over that area.
Oh,
it does need an ARC style schedule. And for two, Jeremy, don't get too snappy with me. I know how you get at this point. You're on a roll. Your comment section is amazing right now. Everybody loves you. I do too. You're pretty. I don't care that your hair is receding. I think it's attractive. I think that 15 David Gravel passed 3 cars when they threw that caution.
So you think everybody's sitting in the booth watching the 2-car?
Conspiracy.
You
can say it's conspiracy. We don't know what they're watching.
So is this what we do now? We just float any absurd thing?
No, but
do we just float whatever we want now
what?
And then they have to answer for it? Is that what we do?
No.
Oh, it sounds like it.
I know that there was a mandatory stop
Yes.
caution, like it was a competition caution.
Yes.
But it was also said 15 to 20.
Yeah.
Is it just random that when David passed 3 cars that they throw the caution? That's just random, you're saying?
Yeah. I don't think they cared. If David Gravel would have won, I don't think they would have cared. Because they could have said he came from
You
10th.
really don't think
No,
I
I
live
don't care.
with a brand
No.
trying to build it, don't care if a World Outlaw driver comes in and performs.
At Lakeside a couple years ago, Gio Scelzi and Carson Macedo swept the top 2 spots. It was $50,000. I don't think they cared. David Gravel last year at the
Right.
at
No,
Eldora.
they didn't care them because they were in a building process, Jeremy. They needed those guys to make their brand.
Well, last year at Eldora, when their brand was the same as it is this year, because they were in National Series, he wanted Eldora. They didn't care. They would have liked that he came from 10th. They would have liked that he came from 10th.
So you're just saying it's happenstance because a lot of outlaw people don't feel this way. Not just
I don't care what the outlaw
We're gonna
people
have Cody
say.
Jacobs on the show. Now.
Good.
He's very upset about this.
Good.
I'm just saying.
Good. I don't buy it. That's it.
You think it was just random?
Yes.
When the one lap that Gravel made up 3 spots,
Mm-hmm.
they threw a caution randomly to just do a fuel stop?
Yes, I think they went on the lower end of it. Yes, because they could calculate. Because I think because of the air. I think everything. It's just so what? Do you think he was going to win?
I mean, the race was just getting good, Jeremy.
Yeah, but not with him. He wouldn't have got to the front.
No, but overall, well, I mean, you could say that.
Yeah,
We
I
don't
can
know
say that.
for a fact.
Yeah,
but
well, where was he
there's a
going to
big
pass
difference
him?
in restarting 8th and restarting 5th.
It wouldn't have mattered. He wasn't winning that race
You're saying, okay.
because it was on the bottom.
Well,
then.
we got Chase Robin in the comments saying gravel wasn't fast enough to win. Bottom line. So,
well,
but Chase Robin was confused. He thought it was a debris caution.
He did. Yeah, and he was corrected by Earl Hoon.
Okay.
Corrected
he
him.
said that live.
And Earl Hoon corrected him.
Oh yeah.
So okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
I don't know why that's a big deal.
Okay. It just randomly happened when gravel put down 3 guys. They put them back. And here's the other deal: if the caution was planned as 15 laps were doing it, why is there not some freeze of the field situation there? Why, when gravel passes 3 cars, when they throw that competition caution, those 3 spots don't count? Why are they racing to a competition caution at a lap that doesn't matter? Why is that?
It's not loop scoring. It's not loop scoring.
I'm simply saying if they planned it, all right, we're doing it right now. Why are they having guys race a lap that doesn't count if it's planned?
I don't know why they do that. Everybody does that. When they say 15, they go around again. I don't understand. Maybe I don't know why they do that. I've seen Knoxville does it. They all do it. I don't know why they do that. When he crossed the line on lap 15, where was he at? That's where you go. Simple. I don't know why.
That's where it should be.
Well, but that's what it was. When he crossed the line when 15 was scored, where was he at? That's where he was put. Now, I know they go around again and
so they just let him race another lap.
Well, Aaron Reutzel didn't cross the line. Aaron
or...
Reutzel did not cross the line when the yellow. He was actually coming out of 4 on lap what would have been 16. If you watch the replay.
Okay, so they raced 3/4 of a lap.
Yeah, they
like
just I don't know if they slow him down or what. Yeah, I don't know why they do that. Everybody does that. Do it at Knoxville.
Is that not an issue? Is that not an issue, Jeremy, that should be addressed?
I don't think it matters. It's
you just say, okay, fine, fuck it. Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Yeah. Clean it up, buddy. Well, this isn't your show.
You're saying you're just saying. Of course, you would say that to me, Jeremy. But at the end of the day, we got 3/4 of a lap that everyone is on a track racing like it matters. And it doesn't. Like, if you're going to have a fuel stop, define it, make sure everyone knows. That way, when it does happen, they're not out there trying to race or pass 3 cars or trying to perform well. And it doesn't matter. Because I think that, maybe you could say it's wrong, 3 spots on that Port Royal track does matter, I think.
Well, 3 spots on any track matters, but again, if I don't think you're saying they did it because of him. And no, I don't think they care who wins. I'm going to tell you something the World of Outlaws said.
So you're saying it's just coincidence?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because it's like the World of Outlaws have told me many times.
David Gravel passes 3 cars in 1 lap and a caution comes out. That's coincidence.
Yeah. Can't you have a coincidence involving David Gravel? Is that what you're saying?
You can.
Are you sure?
But we're back to the optics.
Well, I don't. David Gravel said it. Not one other person said anything about that. If David Gravel would have never said anything, nobody would even know it.
That's not true.
Yeah, they would. I heard nothing out. Nobody is
true.
Well,
there's too many.
Okay, look, the grassy knoll, and if you guys all want to believe that everything's rigged and fixed and not, that's fine. I'm telling you,
what was up with the spin of the wheel?
What are you talking about the wheel now?
Well, I was tagged in a video that showed that the wheel didn't click. It was held up for a couple of numbers when certain drivers went to spin.
Well, okay. So who did they try and rig it for?
I mean,
Who'd they rig
they
it
have
for?
a brand they're trying to
No.
build, right?
Who did they rig it for? You got to give me who are they rigging it for?
I didn't say they rigged it for anybody. I'm just saying they have a brand they're trying to build, right? They got to make sure that brand looks superior to another, correct? We're in a competitive element.
No. Who? You get caught up in a lot of nonsense.
No, okay, so you don't think it matters. You don't think it
No,
matters.
I think they hold a
World of
look.
Outlaws is viewed as superior.
Okay, I'm going to give you this, and I'm not going to go on and on about this and go for a half hour. But
I know.
No, wait.
I ruined the show.
No. Don't get womanly and temperamental. Just listen. It's World of Outlaws once told me, and it came from Tom Deary. They like when the Pennsylvania Posse beats the World of Outlaws in here. You know why?
Right.
Sells more tickets. Now, the World of Outlaws
adds validity to the area.
Okay, so we can skew it any way we want. If the Outlaws want to be the biggest brand, why would they be okay with getting beat? See, now you just contradicted yourself.
They said that recently.
Yeah, they don't care. That's the same as the track prep. They don't do track prep.
Do they have? Okay. To you, there's no difference between what you're explaining, how you're laying it out. There's no difference between a PA driver beating the Outlaws or a high limit driver beating the Outlaws. There's no difference to you.
No, I don't think the Outlaws care that much.
They don't think that matters. You think it's good. You think that the World of Outlaws, based on your explanation, you think the World of Outlaws are hoping that a high limit driver comes to an outlaw race and beats them.
Well, it's a different scenario because they're not selling tickets.
But that's the segue you're making.
No.
Right?
Chaz, don't look. You got word salad going again. Okay, you figure if you could talk over and just keep talking. No. This is the deal. High Limit doesn't own a track. High Limit doesn't own a track. Pennsylvania Posse sells tickets. It's here.
Okay.
It's in their area. High Limit doesn't have an area. So you're not going to look at Pennsylvania Posse the same as High Limit guys. But I don't think Brian Carter's sitting in his office going.
Exactly. But we're talking about potential things that High Limit did to make an outlaw driver not beat them. You're saying,
I don't think they care.
World Outlaws thinks that when the PA Posse beats them, that's a good thing.
Yes.
I think that the World Outlaws do think that, but I don't think that the World Outlaws thinks that, or High Limit thinks that when an outlaw or a high limit driver shows up to their event, those guys beating them is a good thing at all. Maybe
I don't think they care.
When High Limit comes to PA, okay, you don't think it matters.
No, I don't think they care. I don't think the Outlaws care if a High Limit guy wins, and I don't think High Limit, and I definitely don't think High Limit cares if an outlaw guy comes and wins one of their races, because guess what? They're probably hoping that he joins the series at some point.
Oh God, that goes into teching. But
what? No.
I'm just saying. You think? Hold on. You think what you're saying is that the same type of mentality of a World Outlaw Series people who want PA drivers to beat them is the same mentality when it comes to high limit drivers and vice versa.
In what regard? The only reason I made the reference of PA Posse and the Outlaws thing, they don't hope. They're good with it because it sells more tickets the next time they come around. And you said about a brand. Okay. There's no bigger brand than the World of Outlaws. So if they were so worried about their brand, why would they be okay if the Pennsylvania guys win? They care because of money.
I just think that that's different.
No.
The Pennsylvania guys beating them,
I don't think it matters.
Is only elevating their brand in the Pennsylvania area, whereas they're in a national brand battle with the High Limit Series. At least that's how I would see it. Like the PA Central PA area is going to sell more tickets if you have a PA guy, battle well like Macri won. Obviously, that's going to make people want to see that PA versus Outlaw battle. Yes. I get it that you could maybe spin that and say, well, they want the high limit guy to win against the Outlaws, I guess. They don't have a problem with it in the same light
Who?
because that's going to make their outlaw events where high limit drivers show up, sell more tickets. But I don't know. I think there is a national brand, and maybe it's not a battle. Maybe maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I think maybe the battle's selling. I do think these match races where high limit and outlaw guys are coming to the same place is kind of a Super Bowl style feel, maybe AFC, NFC. But I don't know. I think both want to beat the other, not necessarily in the same way as PA drivers performing well against the Outlaws when they come to town, but there is a national brand battle in a way on who's the best. I think that both sides want to beat the other when they're on their territory. I think that's true.
I think they all want to just make money. The drivers just want to win. Gio Scelzi doesn't care. He just wants to win money for the KCP racing. David Gravel doesn't care.
Well, I'm not talking about Gio Scelzi.
Well, all of them. I don't think Brad's sitting around going, ooh, I hope an outlaw guy doesn't invade our race and beat us. I don't think he cares.
I think they do.
Well, that's fine. You can think that.
I think they want to beat them. You're saying you don't want your team to beat the other team?
No, I think
Jeremy?
I think he wants to win. And if he can't win, he doesn't care. I'm saying
who's brand managing? Because you don't want your brand
you're
to
caught
lose
up.
to
You're
another
caught up
brand
in
a competitive element.
views.
That doesn't make sense to me.
You're caught up in this fictional. It's big views brand.
I'm caught up in a fictional feud.
You're just
fictional feud that
but you
everyone
just
else is acknowledging.
You're making stuff up. You don't know this.
No.
You're just throwing it out there.
No.
You just said I don't think. I don't know.
Well, educated assumption based on brand battles.
I don't. I think high limit's different.
Does Coke want to lose to Pepsi?
You can't be seriously comparing those Coke and Pepsi to Outlaws High Limit. You can't possibly
in
do that.
A way it is. Hold on. In the soft drink industry,
let's wrap it up, Chaz. You're getting long-winded.
That literally
wrap it up.
Billions on trying to be better than the other.
Okay, well, the next time Sprint Car Racing has billions, call me.
Well, I know it's a difference between a B and an M.
I think it's a difference between a T and an M.
This industry right now.
It's look.
Okay, I understand. A T and a T, a B. And not to go,
Yeah, it's just look.
But what I'm saying is,
to take it now. You segued into something that's just not what we were talking about, which is David Gravel. And did they purposely throw a caution to screw him? No, I don't believe they threw a caution to screw him. That's it. It has. You could go into all the brand stuff.
You really don't.
It's different. You're segueing way out the way.
I don't want to take over your show and have this Stephen A. Skip Bayless discussion. I don't want this, but I don't. But
no, I just don't think that they did that. I don't. I think they both want. The Outlaws have their brand.
Do, Jeremy, that aren't just me.
Well, I don't look. Then they can get a show and they can talk about it.
Oh, come on.
So
don't big D us.
It's not. You asked me my opinion. I gave it to you. That's it. Just because other people think it doesn't mean that I have to think it. You get caught up in too much what other people think.
Building 7 was just just happened. Okay, it's coincidence.
Look, you could talk about this is a separate incident, and again, I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about what happened at Port Royal. It doesn't go any further than that. I think the World of Outlaws had the biggest brand in dirt track racing. Yes. I think High Limit's trying to build their brand. Yes. But I don't think they're controlling races by screwing David Gravel. I just don't.
Okay.
Because they would have screwed him.
Coincidence that
why wouldn't you
David
screw him when
Gravel
it mattered?
3 cars and one lap and they throw the caution and it don't count. That's
But that happens everywhere. Everyone does it.
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong, Jeremy. I'm just
I know
saying
I'm not
that's
wrong.
what you believe. It's just coincidence.
Yeah, I've said it 3-4 times. I believe it was I just believe they brought out the fuel stop on lap 15. We had a caller earlier who said he thinks they wanted him to run 25 laps because that's what a normal feature is there. That's why they stopped it at 15.
Makes sense.
I can't say he's wrong. I don't know. But I don't think they screwed David Gravel.
Isn't there supposed to be some kind of timer on how much the cars have run? Or are you saying like 400%? And like I said, I guess it is 100%. 15 to 20, there would be a stop. They knew all that. They said it in the driver's meeting. And it just so happened that 15 fell on the time period where there was passing and David Gravel passes 3 cars. There's a battle for the lead. They stopped the race. That just happened.
Well, no, the battle for the lead came after the fuel stop. Reutzel was 2 seconds ahead.
Well, they were in traffic, though.
No, Reutzel was 2 seconds ahead. He was 2 seconds. Okay. That's a long time.
I'm just glad Zach Hampton's okay.
Yes. And I will say this, then I got to get rolling, get to the chat and everybody else, but I was disappointed to see that happen to Zach Hampton because I thought it was a good story. He's running top 10. I think Zach Hampton's one of the best stories of the year.
It could be, but that 100K crash deposit's adding up.
That car, there was nothing left of it. So, all right, Chaz, I got to get rolling here.
Oh, God. I know.
I got to get rolling.
Cody Jacobs is coming on later. What do I need to say to him? What should I say to him if they're mad?
Say whatever you want. Cody will talk to you.
I'm just asking. Do you have any? He thinks they were after him. What's a rebuttal?
I have none. I just don't believe that. That's all. I'm not going to get in a back and forth. I just don't believe that they tried to screw the 2 car.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
It was fun, Jeremy.
All right.
I love you so much, and you need to start your series up and take over PA. No. That's what I believe.
All right. We'll catch you later.
Okay.
All right. Let's get back to the chat or any other calls. I was quite surprised to see Hampton get DQ'd last night for no Hans after the crash at Port Royal on Sunday. Yeah, I didn't even see that. Thanks for bringing that up. I didn't even know that happened. Yeah, you got to have a Hans. I mean, there's no, it says it in the rules. What else? We got Steve on line 5. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Not too bad.
How do you tolerate Chaz?
He's harmless.
I listened to David Gravel the other night when he said he thought it was on purpose. I don't think it was on purpose.
It's a big reach.
If it was on purpose, they would have done it before that, or if they saw him coming, they starting to come, they would have thrown a caution. I just don't believe it.
Well, here's the other thing: you could always penalize a guy for jumping.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been good for the series if they did that.
Well, yeah, I just don't buy that conspiracy theory. That's all.
I'm a David Gravel fan in a way, but he can irritate you a little bit because, like, if he doesn't make the dash, or he'll say, "Oh, if I don't start in the top 4, you don't have a chance." You just got to go with what happens. It is the night works out the way the night works out. You can't blame how you run on not getting a good starting position. If you didn't get a good starting position, that started at the beginning of the night, so I don't know. But anyway, what I had called about is when Gravel said that, I was kind of surprised because I don't believe that they would do that on purpose. It would be foolish to do it on purpose.
Yeah, and I think too, I think there's more eyes on high limit from a speculative standpoint. I think people are judging high limit. I think they're skeptical. They're new. Obviously, you're more skeptical just by nature on things that are new. So I think they have more eyes on them in that particular way. And I just don't think that they would alter a race like that. Because if there's so many other ways to do it. Okay, on a restart, why didn't they clip him for jumping? Why didn't they tech him harder than other people? Why not? I mean, there's just so many other things to do. I don't throw in. They were going to throw competition caution. I thought it was too early. I talked about that, on my 90 at 9 this morning. But I don't know.
Yeah, I heard that. I was surprised that they threw it when they threw it, but they did say they were going to throw between lap 10 and 20. So,
well, there you go.
I mean, I agree with you, and we don't need to be running 40 lap races with sprint cars.
35.
We don't need the big, like you say, we don't need the big tail tanks. 35 laps would have been perfect distance for that race.
Yep, I agree.
I think anyway.
I agree.
And like I said earlier, I don't think that High Limit could afford to do anything to hurt their series. And if they did something that would have blatantly hurt one of the, an outlaw guy as far as how he ran or whatever, it would hurt their series. I just don't see him doing that.
No,
Maybe
I agree.
I'm wrong, but I just don't see him doing that.
I agree. We can let it go at that.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Steve. Thank you. I appreciate it. Jeremy, have you seen the latest on Tyler Walker? He seems to be doing better. Yeah, I saw I think he had the post or on Facebook. Good for him. I guess he was at a racetrack. Good for him. It's good to see that he's headed in the right direction. I see something on here. High Limit hasn't done anything shady. Look, I'm not saying everything they've done is on the up and up. I know they had the Kevin Now situation. I don't think that was handled well at all. But that doesn't mean doesn't mean that everything is, I get it. I don't know the ins and outs of the Kevin Nows thing. And I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think we'll ever know that. And that's between Kevin and them and the series. And until somebody comes out and really talks about it, that's where we're at with it. So I don't know. I just don't think they're doing that because it screws other drivers as well. It's not just screwing one. All right. We got Bob on line 6. Bob, how you doing?
All right. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. After Chaz took all your time there.
No.
Anyway,
Okay.
I just had a quick question for you. I know you're kind of down on about the situation at Seals Grove a little bit. But I want you to realize a couple things here. First off, there's a lot of things going on up there that people aren't aware of about the fair board. There's a lot of things going on. The concession prices up there are lowest of all the tracks, by the way. I've looked at the concession stands. It's the prices that give a $5 reduction for the seniors up there. They're doing a lot of good things up there. I know they're in a rough situation. They took a 1-year lease. I guess you know that also.
Yep.
So they're really trying hard. Hopefully they'll get different divisions in there next year. I just wanted your general opinion. And also, I know they're talking about trying to bring the non-winning sprints back up there also. I've talked to several promoters. So that's just wanted to know your feelings on some of these points I brought up to you.
Look, I wish them all the best, and I do. And I was up there for the sprint car show, obviously when the Grove rained out. I thought the facility looked decent. I thought the pricing, like you said, I thought that's good. I think it's always good when a track does things for seniors. What I didn't like is the reason it's not that I don't like Sealands Grove. They were coming off a situation where it was really bad. And your first year trying to right the ship, so to speak, you're going to run four 410 shows against Williams Grove on a Friday night. And there's a couple reasons I don't like that. Number one, you're taking a huge, huge leap. Number two, you raise the purse, which again, not smart when you're still trying to build something. And thirdly, you never know when you're going to need those other tracks. And now you come out of the gate with a bad taste in your mouth or putting a bad taste in other people's mouths. And that's why I had a problem with them running against the Grove. It wasn't because I don't like Sealands Grove. It wasn't because I like the Grove or don't. It's just didn't seem like a smart plan. I like some of the things they're doing. I like you said, all the things you said. I think that's good. And I think they also got to stop taking jabs on social media. They have a couple guys up there who just don't know when to shut up. And that is a problem because everybody's watching. Like High Limit, everybody's watching. So I wish them the best. I hope they do well. I never want to see a track, especially in Central PA, close. I just, for the first year, it's good to lay low, especially coming off.
Well, I guess also that if those people haven't came on board to try this for a year,
right,
that place might have closed. They had a hell of a time. Excuse my language.
No,
to find a promoter to fill in there.
Oh no, absolutely. Look, they're doing a yeoman's job. It is very difficult after the last regime to get that thing back to where it needs to be. And credit to this group for coming in and willing to do it. And I hope they do well. I really do. I hope they do well.
I personally think the Fair Board should have spent more money. There's a lot of discussions about that. I've heard from some of the other previous promoters that they tried to purchase a track and the Fair Board wouldn't allow it, and various other things that I heard about that were all substantial from promoters that wasn't a lot of BS,
Yeah, no, you're right.
Just wanted you to know that.
Yeah, no, they definitely tried. There were other people who tried to purchase it and they're not giving it up. And I think that's why they're partly in the situation they're in. So hopefully this group can turn it around and do something with it.
Well, I hope so, because hopefully the fans will support it. We don't need, like you said, we don't need another track closing. It's the last thing we need right now.
Yeah.
And I think they just felt that they had to try something, even though unfortunately they had to run against the Williams Grove on Friday night also. I think that they're trying to do different things. I don't think they have much choice in the situation also.
There's a lot of Sundays that would have been better. For the first year, at the very least.
Sunday's a tough day to run, but they've gotten support on Sundays when they've had 410s, like you said before. The kingpins of Pennsylvania are the 410 wing sprints. You know that.
Oh yeah, so, yeah. You're not making it with anything else.
That's what pulls the crowds.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Anytime, Bob. I appreciate it. All right, James on line 7. James, how are you?
I'm great tonight. How are you there, Jeremy?
Really good. Waiting for Edmonton, Dallas to kick off, to drop the puck for the NHL.
Who are you pulling for?
Edmonton.
Oh, me too. As a Canadian, I have to. So, anywho, my question for you today is: so with the Kreitz Racing this year, with Bell and Pittman and Smith and just a committee of different drivers, it made me wonder, why doesn't 57 do the same? Why don't they, when Larson can't run a different committee of drivers throughout the entirety of the High Limit Series?
I don't think Silva wants to. I just think it's choice.
Okay.
I just think it's choice. And two, you're going to get Kyle. Look, if you're a full-time team, it's expensive. I don't think Silva wants to fit that bill. I think he just doesn't want to. I think he has a good program for Kyle. It works. Of course, I no disrespect. I think I could have Kyle in a sprint car. I mean, he can drive anything, but I think he has a good program for Kyle, and I don't think he wants to go off that.
Yeah, I thought with the new announcement of their not charter system thing, that it would entice the team to do that because they explicitly outlined that it's an owner's point system, not drivers.
Sure.
So I thought maybe that would entice them to do that, but obviously I guess it hasn't. I don't understand it personally. I think run the car the whole series, with how fast that car is most weeks, I think I could run it and get that thing a charter position.
Well, the thing is, it wouldn't kick in for the 57 until 2028. If he did it this year, it would be 2027. If he did it next year, it would be 2028. It's a 2-year running deal. And since they didn't run the full circuit last season, he wouldn't be eligible for it in 2026. So you still have that lag time until you earn that franchise. So I just think it's something Paul doesn't want to do. I think he wants to just, run with Kyle, and that's it. And I think he enjoys time at home otherwise.
Do you think you could see teams doing that kind of a thing, though? Running a partial schedule with a certain driver in the High Limit Series and running a partial with a different driver?
Sure.
Kind of like a committee kind of deal?
Sure. I could see that in the future. I definitely can, because it's all about ownership. I think you could. Yeah. I think you could see it later this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could see it with like a Tarleton kind of team where they're running their thing by a committee. They could maybe next year run a High Limit Series by committee.
They could, but I don't know if they want to be on the road. I don't know if Tarleton wants to be on the road full time. It's a different deal. But I think there's a team who could do it in the next 3 weeks, who could make a possible change to where they're doing more committee stuff. So, we'll see.
I mean, you're kind of seeing it informally with a lot of these teams that are like with Eliason and a lot of these other teams, Trey Jacobs, getting where it's kind of informally become a by committee kind of deal.
Yeah. I mean, the 49X will have a different driver when they roll into Williams Grove for the next All-Star show on June 6th.
Yeah, they might even crack a dozen drivers this year.
Oh, come on now. It won't be that bad. Come on.
Anyways, thank you for fielding my crazy question. I'll let you go for the night. Thank you so much.
It was good. All good. James, thank you very much. Does Caleb Johnson stand a serious chance for 100,000 or 250,000 at Houston? Looks good, and confidence has to be going through the roof. I like what Caleb Johnson's doing up there. I like him in that car. I like that he's 410 sprint car racing. Asking him to beat the World of Outlaws and some high limit guys for 100,000 or 250,000, that's a big ask, because there's 3 guys who are really, really good there. You have Buddy Kofoid, Sheldon Haudenschild, and David Gravel. Those 3 guys up there are excellent. So he's going to have to beat them. Am I going to say he has a chance? Yeah, I think he has a better chance at a prelim night. I don't think the race is as long. And I just think the more laps you run, I just think those guys are just going to go to the front. Those 3 guys are who I'm looking at heading into Houston's High Bank Nationals week. What's your opinion about track prep and the Outlaws? Any series changing lap count, especially on what happened in yesterday's race at Atomic? Oh, okay. The World of Outlaws do not control track prep. I know everybody wants to think that, and at that one time when Ted was there, yes, but I can tell you they don't. They might come in and look at it and say, oh boy, that's really dry. You may want to add water to it, but they do not dictate track prep. I know that for a fact because I talk to all the tracks here and they don't dictate it to them. I am not big on changing lap counts either. If you have to change a lap count, that means somebody screwed up and you need to fix it. And it's kind of a slippery slope because if you track prep, then you're going to, if you farm, let's just say farm, then you're going to delay the program. And that's never good. And then we all complain about that, me included. But, there's that balance between time versus a good race. I've never heard anybody after a good race walking out going, boy, the time's, look at the time. It's secondary because they're just coming off seeing that good race. So it's a slippery slope. You can't rubber up on lap 8, though. That is the worst. That is the worst. All right. Dirt Tracker was saying $620,000 is typical outlaw yearly expense to do the 410 tour. Your thoughts on this? I'd say it's pretty close. He's not far off. I think some teams do it for less, and I think there's probably a team out there, that spends more. So yes, I think Justin's pretty close. I think he's pretty close. Did they advertise a lap where they were going to make a fuel stop before the race started? It was a range. I believe it was a range. Actually, I left the driver's meeting because I had to see another team or a crew chief about something. I'm not going to get into that, but it was a range. I was told it was a range. What would be your theory? Well, I know high limit regulars made the trek to Atomic. I don't have one. Probably because they were coming off a big show of port, didn't want to rush around. I don't know. Am I surprised that one or two didn't show up? Yeah, I kind of am. That's Atomic's in the southern part of Ohio. And those teams are going to Lawrenceburg, I believe. So they could have taken a detour. I thought maybe one or two would show up. They didn't. But I didn't, it's kind of like the Weichert. I didn't expect 8 outlaw guys there. I expected maybe one or two. So, and a lot of it is too, guys. How did they do it? How did they do the night before? I mean, Reutzel, he won $100,000. Does he really want to go run Atomic? Then you have other guys who didn't run well, and they're not going to want to run another race the next day anyway that isn't a series race. I think that's also a part of it. All right, let's clip these off. After losing the TKS ride, where does Corey Eliason's career go from here? Boy, I don't know. He has nothing as of now. I can tell you that. I do think he'll get something. But right now, there's nothing final. Love the channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Not really a question, but Chase Robbins said Tony LaPorta will be in the booth this weekend. That will be interesting. Yeah, I think in tandem they do a good job. Tony's entertaining. Tony does a good job down there, and I think even on the Outlaws side, I think Connor Wade does a good job. I think pit reporting and doing is harder than anything because you don't always know when it's going to get thrown to you. You don't really have a script. You don't have a bunch of papers laying around. You don't have a place to where you can have like notes. It's really not an easy deal. I respect Chase Rodman. He did it for a long time. Connor Wade, I respect LaPorta, all those guys who do that second mic. Man, that's not an easy job. I couldn't do that probably. Gravel said it's easier to pop in and win an outlaw. Who's that? I think you mean Gravel. Easier to pop in and win an outlaw race. Is this theory the same for high limit races? Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? I think it's track too. Like I said earlier, I didn't think gravel was going to win. I think, yeah, he had a chance. Don't get me wrong. I think he had a, he was definitely one of the guys you had to watch, but it's not like gravel at Huset's. It's not like gravel at Eldora. It's not like Port Royal is tough for guys. I think Justin Fiedler said it on Dirt Tracker, and I agree 100%. Right now, Port Royal is the toughest place for outsiders to win in central Pennsylvania. Used to be Lincoln. There was a stretch there with Lincoln where, Dietrich won 2 years in a row, and, other guys kind of doing well down there. Then the Outlaws got more laps, and then they were able to do what they do now. I think that's where we're at with Port Royal, and the Outlaw guys don't go there. So I think it's difficult. I really do. I think it's 2 laps is fine, but I think over a feature, the format was, again, you're coming from 10th, and the cars in front of you are good cars. They're not chumps. Okay, you had Reutzel starting on the pole. Gravel started 10th. Macri started ahead of him. Dewease started ahead of him, and Dewease looked really good this weekend. It's just tough. That was a tough race for Gravel to win, too, as soon as he pulled, spun a 10. All right. Does Caleb Johnson compete at the High Bank Nationals in a serious way? I already answered that. I think what he's doing out there is really good. I like what I see from him. I think he's an up-and-coming driver in the 410 ranks. I think Dennis Gainey is an underrated car owner. And but again, there's guys at Huset's who are going to be at that Huset's race. That field's going to be loaded. And the 3 best guys are Sheldon, Gravel, and Kofoid. So we'll see. I hope he does well. So Port got rained out Friday, but it was dusty and around the bottom in hot laps. Do you have an opinion on that? By the way, I thought Saturday was the better race. I thought Saturday was the better race as well. I agree with that. I can't tell Port Royal how to track prep, and I'll tell you why. I've seen too many good races there. The week before, it was a pretty good race. Danny Dietrich was all over Garrett Bard for like 10 laps. Anthony Macri came out of nowhere. It wasn't just that he made a last lap pass, really a last down the front stretch pass. It was its entirety. Dietrich was all over Garrett Bard. They had a great race. So, I think they probably sealed it up. I don't know what they did. And it's hard for me to rip track prep guys because I don't think it's an exact science. I think it's a moving target. They have two new guys prepping the track up there this year. Stymley is not doing it anymore. So now he's there for advice, I'm sure, but I think there's a lot of moving pieces there. When Bell spun the wheel and got the front row, did not even go 1 revolution. I agree. And that's a problem. You got to enforce it. And look, it seems minor, but it's not minor. It has to go around the whole time. So make it go around the whole time. It's simple. We're constantly talking about 410 wing sprint car racing. Every issue is a good thing. Oh, yeah. It goes back to that. There's no such thing as bad press. So kind of the same thing. Jeremy Klink Garner's last year. Not sure on that. I now have a guy covering Knoxville, Barry Johnson. He's doing a good job. He just did his first 2 notebooks. I had one last week, and I just put the other one up tonight. He's going to be the guy out there, kind of be the eyes and ears, and he's going to write. So I will reach out to him and get him on that. So, but no, Klink Garner, good racer. Question about support class. Trying to grasp the financials of a support class. Since the support class doesn't bring in many extra fans, Is the added back gate enough to pay their purse? It depends what class it is. Like if you have a limited stock or a bangers, I guess Jovan Schultz can maybe clue us into this. What they're called out on the West Coast, they're like bangers or something. Whatever Joey Bats ran. They call them 4 cylinders, limited stocks. Those are great support divisions because they don't pay a lot. So yes, and you get 30 of those things, and it's good. Where you get into trouble is when you have support divisions where the purse is $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 for the total purse, and you don't get enough cars to equal that. And yes, fan count. You also, to me, which I don't think is done enough, you have to weigh how long that support division is going to take. So again, big races, though, not in favor of them at all. But the financials, you're hoping for a big back gate on it. And you're just filling time before your headline division comes out. How many cars do you think Western PA Speed Week will get? I think it could change night to night. I think they could get to 30, 28 to 30, which I think would be good for them. I think it's good Western PA Speed Week's doing that stuff. I think it's good they're having a speed week. There's going to be some guys here who go out. Billy Dietrich's going to go out. I think Ryan Smith will run those races. I think some other guys will. Now, you're not going to have Danny Dietrich go out, but I think you're going to have some maybe smaller teams trying to do Western PA Speed Week. Good for them. I'm a big fan of Western PA Speed Week. I think it's just a good deal. I know people want bigger payouts, but we all want bigger payouts. It's what they can afford. It's what they do, and hopefully their guys support it. Mike on line 8. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
Doing okay. Not too bad. What do you got for me?
I just like to pretty much just kudo Central Pennsylvania. Anybody who wants to bash Port Royal and weather and cars showing up and anything else, you know, I'm a handicapped man. I can't make it to the races. So I'm watching on Flow. And on Friday night, I'm watching when they get rained out and there's almost nobody in the stands. And I'm thinking, man, Port's just getting their ass handed to them tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they come back and jack it up. So I don't know. I can go on and on, but that's all I got tonight.
Okay, Mike. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will say that Central Pennsylvania, there's good and bad, as in any area, but it's where your biggest fan base is. So in 410 wing sprint car racing. That's no doubt. We also are very lucky and are spoiled to have this many tracks within a 2-hour radius. So can't complain about that.
Totally agree.
Yeah, it's definitely, if you're a sprint car fan, this is a place to be.
All right, I will throw one more out there. Again, I'm a handicapped man, and I brought this up before, and I play hell getting into the racetrack. And I think the racetracks need to do a better job for people like me. And I know I got to take that up with the tracks.
Yeah.
So it's in your ear again.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there should be guidelines for them to follow. Same as any business.
Well,
same as any business.
I'm such a good guy. I'm gonna say this. No. I mean this to the bottom of my heart. I'm such a good guy. The racetracks, you know, like I said, I'm handicapped, and the racetracks are like so not even close to regulations. It's ridiculous.
Right. They're getting better with parking.
I mean, you know, and that's all I want is parking. That's all I really want is parking. But like, if I wanted to be I'm gonna let it go. You guys do a great job, man.
Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate it, and thank you for the call. All right, we got a couple comments to wrap up yet. Ocean Speedway now has 5 support classes. That's why they only get 200 fans. I agree. That's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. That's a backgate show, and they've thrown in the towel on trying to promote their speedway, as far as I'm concerned. That's it. Hi, Jeremy. Any insight on Freddie Raymer struggling this year? I think he's getting a little better, especially at Lincoln. He won a couple weeks ago. This week, I think he had motor issues. It was what I was told at Port Royal. Wagaman obviously came from 9th. I think Wagaman's heating up. I think Freddie's going to get better. I think they just got to get that team going again. And we've lost a lot of races. So I think that plays a role in it. But yes, especially at Port Royal. They're not good at Port Royal. It's not good at all. But I think they're again, I think come the middle of the season, they'll be back on pace at Williams Grove and Lincoln, and then they just got to figure out Port. Did you get a chance to talk to Danny Sams? Real nice kid. Talked to him for 5 minutes and now a fan of his. Yeah, I've talked to him a few times. Had him on the podcast. I was, thought he had a good year last year. Don't know if high limit was the way to go this year. I would have liked to have seen him maybe run All-Stars or Power I full-time or a combination of those two. He definitely bit off a lot going to high limit. But yeah, he's a good kid. Seems like he has a good head on his shoulders. Hopefully he can get that motor stuff worked out, because that's a big problem when you're running a national series. He was down to one with 20 races on it after Grandview. So not quite sure where he's at on that, but there you go. Sealands Grove should learn from BAPS, run 3 to 4 shows on Sundays and don't conflict with others and build from there. Yeah, I mean, and who knows, you build a good relationship with the other tracks, and maybe they give up a show or two for you. Maybe a show that they don't do well at, maybe they give that up for you. That's one of the big problems in Central Pennsylvania that I've been saying for years. They don't work together, and it's going to start hurting at some point. So I thought they should have eased into it, try and get your fans back by, some creative marketing strategies. Maybe take some cues from some of the other tracks. BAPS would be a good one, because, BAPS has some probably the more creative marketing tools they use more than anyone. And the other thing is, reach out to tracks and build a relationship. They haven't done that, but I wish them the best, and hopefully they can turn things around. How did you do in the King of the West pool this past weekend, Corey Nishaw? I did well. I finished 3rd. It was looking rough. I was having a real bad year, and Corey Nishaw runs a really good pool. I ended up 3rd. I got lucky. Troy Wagaman helped me out a ton, even though he wasn't. I think it probably helped Friday getting rained out, because he wasn't going to be there Friday. And so he had double points on Sunday. That probably helped out the most. Might have got a tip from somebody on that. But yeah, no, it was good. Corey does a good job. I'd recommend checking out his pools. All right. Do you think sprint car racing should have fuel stops in big paying shows? Knoxville is what it is. It isn't changing. They've done polls on that with fans, and it's kind of split. I like that the Kings Royal goes 40, or tries to go 40. That's more of a tradition thing with me. Don't mess it up. I think other races, you know what? Like Huset's can go 40 because it's size of track, but like Port Royal, 35. Except for the Tuscarora 50. Again, tradition. If it's tradition and that's what they do, I'm fine with it. If you're just starting a new race and you want to make it long, that's where I'm kind of like, don't add to it, because fans don't like it on the whole. It seems like they don't. There's a lot of blowback off the Weichert, so about that subject. So I just wouldn't walk down that road. So Zeb Wise to TKS. I doubt that. I don't think he goes. I think he wants to run a national tour. I don't think he's going to go to a regional car. So I doubt that highly. Jeremy, who is your pick to win the Smith Memorial at Lincoln Saturday? Ooh. Chase Dietz. I'm going to go with Chase Dietz. Now, it could change on the podcast if Ryan has the first pick and takes him. So, but right now, Chase Dietz. All right, Western PA Speed Week had 46 at Lernerville last year. Hope they have a successful run in 2025. Yeah, no, again, Lernerville, at least they're not competing against Tri-City that night. I don't like that scenario at all. So, yeah, no, I think Lernerville will do really well, and I think a couple of the others, I think it'll average out. But good. Look, the more cars, the better for them. I wish them all the best. What was the difference in the format from Saturday to Sunday with how many transfer in the heats? Rico sounded confused. I talked to Rico about it, and the difference was they got a higher car count on Sunday, so the invert was only 6. It was 8 on Saturday. So you didn't qualify through your heat race. You had points. You accumulated points. They called it passing points, but it's not really passing points because you don't get points for passing cars. It's fixed position points. So every time you advance, obviously you move up and get more points. But your high point guys were starting from time trials, were starting 5th and 6th, not 7th and 8th. So I don't think you had as much of a shakeup, number one. And I think it was harder to make up ground because you were only inverting 6 compared to 8. So like Saturday, Ryan Smith made a charge from 5th to 1st. He moved from, I think, 16th to 4th because some of the guys in his heat who timed better passed one car and they were still 6th or 7th. That's where the difference was. It was just the car count. They went to a 6-heat format instead of a 4-heat format, and therefore the inversion was less. Now that Port Royal and High Limit have stepped up with the Weichert, do you think Williams Grove and the Outlaws up the purse for the National Open? I don't think you see that this year. Maybe in the future. Now, I'll be curious if the Weichert's $100,000 next year. Was this, I had Todd Weichert on the deep dive last week. Check it out. It was he said in there he wants it to go to 100,000 and then he wants to start adding down through the purse, which I think is very smart. But this was the perfect time to do it because they lost Friday night. So does it remain 100,000 next year or do they drop it back down to 75? I don't know. I don't expect the Outlaws in the Grove to just fire in an extra 25,000 unless a sponsor comes on board for the National Open. Not this year. Could be wrong though. Now that the Weichert is 100,000 to win, it can't go back to 75, can it? I don't see that's difficult. It's hard to pull back on your purse. That usually doesn't sit well with teams. So I would think it wouldn't. Glad to see Path Valley got a race for PA Speed Week. You and about 1,000 other people in this area. A lot of people are looking forward to that. And then it's kind of a teaser for High Limit because High Limit goes to Path Valley in September. So they got 2 big shows this year. All right. Good deal. Thanks everyone who called in. Everyone who asked a question on the chat. Appreciate it. Don't know what's going to happen next week. Stay tuned to social media, to our the SprintCarUnlimited.com Facebook page and Twitter page. Not really sure when the show's going to be next week. I'm going to Wisconsin to cover 2 high limit races and then the 3 World of Outlaws events. So not sure where we're going to fit in, but I will let you guys know at the end of the week and it'll be promoted multiple times. Again, thank you to everybody who joined the show, watching or via chat and phone. Thank you, and we'll try and be back next week. Stay tuned.